Hello. So we left off with the hole on the inside of the chassis rail, having removed the engine suspension, and as you can see, I got on fixing it, but it was proving rather difficult to film, so you could actually see what I was doing here. So I will show you a little bit of that, and then move into the rest of the video. Okay, so there's a patch made, and that's primed, chassis primed. So I'm going to dig out the suspension turret and see if I can get the wishbone off, because the bolt is fighting. So that wasn't coming out. The bush is actually in reasonable condition, but the bolt is very much seasoned to it. There's repaired in the chassis, the rail. And we're also going to have to do a little bit of something here, so let's get on with that. I managed to run out of battery while doing the work, cutting out the bits of chassis, these hopefully last bits of chassis. So I've made some pieces to go inside and to rebuild the reinforcement behind the suspension mount as well. They're primed and drying, and while that's going on, I'm going to get a start on cleaning up some of the suspension parts. I'm really struggling with the lighting. Oh well, lighting, camera positioning. So I've tried to film this welding, but there's some structure built back inside, and this plate going in on the chassis. And yeah, I used a spare suspension bracket to kind of make sure it was all going to fit in correctly, which it does. So I'm going to get this welded up, and then it might actually be on to cleaning up, ready for painting. Okay, that's done. Suspension fits, so it's best suspension bracket fits. So I'll finish off getting some of the 50 odd years of filth off the chassis, and we can get this half painted. Well, so I wasn't able to start painting as I found some more holes. I'm going to heavily reinforce what we've got. And probably, because I now realise that there was a doubled inner structure through the whole chassis rail, which I thought was only to prevent this from crushing. So I'm going to grind down all these welds and the ones on the bottom, and I'm going to put a flat plate over the whole lot as well to give some extra reinforcement. Some of this tubing inside here, and you know, throw metal at it till we can no more. I keep running out of battery or running out of video length, or not doing very well this morning. Anyway, I've got a reinforcement plate made to go underneath the chassis, and I'm going to go and do the bit that would go underneath the suspension mount. I've already, so obviously we don't want to bring the suspension mount even any further out than it was. However, luckily I have pieces of steel that are exactly the same width as one of the shims, or it's a single shim. So I will just be able to put a plate over and remove one shim, and we're the same geometry. So I'm going to cut a square for that, and then get welding. Okay, so we've got a plate for underneath, a plate for on the suspension mounting. I'm going to let these dry, get them put on before I start tackling this horrible hole here. But I'm going to do, again, some extra reinforcement, thick bits of steel. Can't plate on the outside in this case, because otherwise we're going to I think the suspension turret will go on, but there would be no gap, so we'd just be potentially collecting muck and rubbish in the suspension turret, which obviously we don't want. So here's these reinforcement plates. I have to do some clean up, obviously, but yeah, it's done at least. It's not very fun welding upside down. And then to fill in this remaining hole. And then I really will be able to paint because I know there's nothing left. And there's those suspension parts all painted up. Nice to feel slightly like we're moving forward. And then we're going to be off to fill this last hole in the chassis. Oh, let's go on with that. So that's the first layer in, second layer ready to go in.
I don't think he's going to be winning any beauty contests, but it will be strong. There's plenty of metal, plenty of weld. I actually think the next thing to do is going to be actually to put the suspension torque back on, put the bulkhead back on, and check that everything's going to fit approximately, because we can't do a proper fit without the car on its wheels, but at least I want to at least have an idea that it's going to go back together, and I haven't done something horrendous like bend the chassis. Don't think I have, but let's check before going too much further.
However, we're going to leave that till next time, so I'll say thank you very much for watching, and see you then. Bye.